and welcome to Endo Friendly Kitchen. So I've decided to start making videos to document my journey with endo or endometriosis. For those of you who might not know or not quite sure what endometriosis is, it's basically a chronic condition in which cells similar to those within the womb appear elsewhere, outside of the womb. Now, what that means is that tissue that's like the lining of the womb builds up outside of the womb, and that means that with the monthly cycle, when there's a period, there's essentially internal bleeding, which is painful and it irritates the area. Mostly it tends to appear in the pelvic area and the abdominal area, but I've also talked to people who have had endometriosis on their pancreas, their lung, the gallbladder, and I've even read of cases where they got it in their toe, their eye, or even their brain. It's generally considered a gynecological issue. It actually goes quite a bit beyond that. Other than the tissue growing, the irritation that this causes often comes with things like fatigue. Every body is different, so it affects everyone differently. But nerves can be damaged. Muscles tend to get very tense and then can't relax, so that in itself is detrimental for the body. Often hormonal changes, mainly it tends to be either estrogen dominance or progesterone, too low progesterone, and those have all sorts of effects on the body and on your mental health as well. And this is an aspect which I think is often overlooked, the emotional impact, the hormonal impact of endometriosis. It's often also irregular periods, so it's hard to plan for anything because you never know when the big bad monster will hit. So that's endometriosis, and as I said, it's a chronic condition. There currently isn't a cure, mainly because they also don't know what the cause is. And for those who might think, well, it's probably a rare disease and not many people will be affected by it because, let's face it, it's not well known. Most people haven't heard of it until they've got a diagnosis. It's actually an illness that affects 1 in 10 women. So it's not that rare, but it's definitely misunderstood and misdiagnosed a lot. The average time for diagnosis is about 7.5 years here in the UK, which, if you're in extreme pain, 7.5 years is a long time to wait. I'll put a link in the description to more information. So I have endometriosis, and it's been a long journey so far, but this last year I've learned a lot. I've changed a lot of things in my life, and I've done a lot of research and reading. And so I've discovered that one of the things that has helped me the most has been changing my diet. Now, a lot of people are resistant to this at first. I know I was, because I felt food, I love cooking and I enjoy food and I enjoy sharing food with my friends and family. So I felt, well, food is one of the few things I can still enjoy in my life. Even on the days when I don't feel well, when I can't really stand up straight because of the pain, it's something that I can still enjoy. And so limiting that just felt like one more barrier, one more limitation that just adds to the long list of things that you can't do, that you're not sure if you can do, that you can only do sometimes. And so I was very resistant to this, but I did reach a point when I was in so much pain that I just had to try anything. And it has made a huge difference. So there isn't one endometriosis diet because it depends a lot on your body, whether you have other conditions or not, your general lifestyle. However, do seem to be general foods and food groups that tend to aggravate endometriosis and any inflammatory disease, really. And the best way to find out is to do what they call the elimination protocol, which is where, now I did this a while ago, so I might be a bit fuzzy on the details. Again, link in the description for the proper information. But you eliminate pretty much all the food groups that might affect you. I ended up eating very basic, pretty much the same food every day for about a month, and then slowly reintroduce one thing at a time. And really, I found it very useful to do a food diary where I would just write down everything that I'd eaten that day and any symptoms that I had, any pain, discomfort, bloating, because that's a big thing. We tend to get something we call endo belly, which is when your bloating is so much, you bloat so much that your body changes shape and size, and often making you look pregnant, which is then hard emotionally, as a lot of us also have fertility issues, so that messes with your brain so much. Anyway, back to endo diet. So yes, I eliminated everything and then added in one by one, little by little, noting down all the effects and so on. And so I've discovered, for me, I need to stick to a dairy-free, sugar-free, wheat-free and soya-free diet. Now, wheat, dairy and sugar are generally known as inflammatory foods. They tend to affect most people with inflammatory diseases. And soya is particularly relevant for endometriosis because it has phytoestrogens, which are, I'm not sure, is it phytoestrogens? Basically the plant version of estrogen hormone, which is then processed by our bodies as estrogen. And as I said, often in endometriosis there's estrogen dominance, so adding more estrogen just makes everything worse. So yeah, those are my main limitations. I do also have to watch out, for example, with potatoes. I can eat potatoes, but not too often, and I need to judge each day. If I'm feeling a little bit not so great, I try to avoid it. Same thing with red meat, so I tend to stick to chicken and turkey most of the time. A few other things, I can't list them all now. It changes, it varies. It also, for me, stress is a big part of endometriosis, and if I'm stressed I tend to have worse symptoms. I am currently finishing a master's degree, so I've had a lot of stress over the last 2 years. It's a 2-year master's, but coming to an end now, hopefully. But yeah, so stress is definitely a big factor in endometriosis, which goes back to lifestyle. So that's definitely something I need to think about going forward once I've finished this degree, to set up my life in a way that's healthy for me. I think that's actually one of the main lessons that I've learned from endo. It's listening to myself, and on all different levels. I've slowly built up just a different way of cooking, a different approach to cooking. Most of my cooking is what I call intuitive cooking. I often look at recipes, but they become more of an inspiration than my rule book. So most of my recipes, I will write the recipes in the description box below each video, but most of them won't really have proper measurements, most likely, because I don't tend to measure ingredients. I just kind of do it by feel. I will try and write as much as I can. I do want to clarify that I am not a doctor, I'm not an expert. Whatever I say, whatever I know of endometriosis is mainly through my own research and reading, which I know I've only read a tiny bit of everything that's available, and most of what I will talk about in my videos will be from my own personal experience. I think my hope with these videos is to just share my story, and hopefully you guys will feel free to share your stories, share ideas, recipes, questions, answers, just anything. So hopefully Endo Friendly Kitchen will become a place where we can all share whatever and support each other in any way we can and we need. I will say, if you really want more support, there are support groups, physical support groups that you can join, but sometimes that can be a bit much. I know when I was in a lot of pain or just very busy because of my schedule, I often found that Facebook support groups can be very, very helpful. There are many out there. Look through them, see which one is right for you, because they can really be very helpful. And yeah, let's try and support each other. If me telling my story can help even just one person, then that would make me happy. And hopefully making these videos will keep me motivated to keep going with my endo journey, and hopefully motivate others as well. Okay, bye!